Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trin.
Hello guys, and thanks so much for tuning in. Now on this episode, I really want to talk about lead generation, how you can get more clients even if you're not an expert, okay? And I call this the Ace of Hearts. And the Ace of Heart method really digs into, one big epiphany moment I had back in 2013 when I started my online business. Now, when I started my online personal training business, I was listening to a lot of internet marketing gurus telling me to put out free ebooks, put out free content. And this was back in 2013 where, Facebook was a little bit kinder to us. We could just run ads and, we would generate leads and we would make sales a lot easier back then than it is today. But nonetheless, this method really came up to me because I was running my online personal training business. I was trying to find different ways to generate more leads, and I was wondering, I got quite sick of cold calling people, only because when I was a trainer in the gym, I was quite established. I had a bit of a reputation and people generally came to me, right? They generally said, hey, I like what you do. Can you train me? And I was receiving little objections. And so when I went online, when I discovered online personal training in 2013, it really flipped the switch. And one big thing that really popped out was I was chasing people now. And when you chase people, generally what happens is that you are perceived as a bit desperate. Okay, and this happens in all facets of life. Let's just say, you've got a boy and a girl, and if the boy is chasing the girl, she's going to be a little bit disinterested. But if you start playing that hard to get game, suddenly the positioning changes. And that's what we'll talk about as well in terms of positioning, is where she starts to get a little bit interested and the male actually starts to seem more attractive, even though he stopped chasing her. So in this episode, I really want to talk about how you can change up your positioning and get the clients coming to you. But it does require a little bit more work, but within the work, you're actually going to enjoy it because, sitting down and cold calling huge opportunity leads might not be your forte. And what I mean by huge opportunity leads is back in 2013 and 14, there was this huge uproar. I mean, look, we stayed atop of the trends because I had a mentor, but back then Facebook was really kind, clicks were cheap. And so what we would do is we'd run an ad, and I'm sure you've seen it because, it's flooded the fitness industry now, but basically it went something like this. It went huge opportunity. I'm looking for 15 guys to train in the gym who want to get a result, who want to get abs. You have to be 25 to 35. You have to be able to commit to the gym 3 times a week, and you have to want to train, and you have to want to be willing to invest in yourself. Apply here. And so that ad with a picture of a guy, abs, and of course nicely designed, would go straight to a form, whether or not it's a Woofu, whether or not it's a Google document form, where they would fill out, and the process would lead to me calling them up. This was back in 2013-14, right? What happened with that is initially it was fine because I was so excited. I was like, sweet, okay, I just need 20 leads, and from 20 leads I'll make 5 sales, at 25% conversion rate there. And that was cool until really I started spending more time on the phone than to my clients. And if you've done this before, you're a personal trainer, you're really out there and you're a fitness entrepreneur trying to build up your own business, not trying to hustle and grind all day, every day on the phone. And so what happens with this model, especially what happened with me, was that I began to burn out. Okay, well, I did this for 6 months. I was making some good revenue, but I began to burn out. And only, one of the things that I really disliked about this method, and call me a softie, call me, whatever you like, and that's cool. But one thing that I disliked was that if I was never on the phone, I wouldn't be generating any income. If I did call people and they didn't know who the hell I was, then basically it kind of put me off, only because I had, people coming to me initially. So, you'd call people and they don't remember filling in the form, and they're like, who the hell are you? Why are you calling me? Get out of here, you freak. So that kind of led me to go, okay, well, and as more and more people did it, my conversions dropped and the leads were less quality. And if you do it now, you'll probably be plummeted, right? So the biggest shift that I made, and only because I made this thing, was how would I feel if I was to get called by a random stranger? And right now, I'd probably feel pretty pissed off. I'd be like, how dare you invade my privacy, right? So a lot of the times in 2014 and 15, I really switched up my model to deliver more value-based marketing platform, deliver results in advance, show them what you can do, take a client from point A to point B for free, okay? Because everybody's got that question. And I make this analogy, the time and time again. If I fly over to Paris at this moment in time and I want to go see the Eiffel Tower, and there's a guy there and he's not a tour guide, he doesn't have a degree in tourism or whatever you call those degrees, right? But he says, hey Lynn, I can take you there, I know the way, I'll get you there in 5 minutes. And he takes me there to Paris, the Eiffel Tower, in 5 minutes, and I get a result. And I'm there and I take my lovely picture with all the shiny lights, and I'm there by myself without my missus. And he says to me, look, is there any other place you'd like to go? And I'm like, sweet, I'd like to visit the museum. Can you take me there? And he says, yeah, absolutely. It's about 8 minutes from now. And he tells me his prices. Chances are I'm going to go with this guy. Okay, 99% of the time, I wouldn't know a person who would not go with this guy. And if you imagine that inside your business, you are that person, because there are millions of people online that need your help. But unfortunately, because of online scams, because of, we see all these money-making scams, people might have been burnt before by supplement companies, detoxes, they're skeptical. The people that you're, marketing to at the moment in time, out of every 100 people, half of them are probably skeptical. So here's the thing, when I change this model up, and this model works fantastically in any area of business, and we'll talk about, my dental marketing company on another day, but this area works because you're actually showing them results in advance, you're delivering value, and what tends to happen is the person on the other side feels the need to reciprocate, okay? They feel the need to give back to you, and they feel like they owe you a debt. So what happens, and go back to me in Paris, is that I'm going to pay this tour guide who's really not a tour guide, he's just a guy, he's not an expert, he's just shown me that he's trustable, likable, he's gotten me the result that I wanted, and now I'm with him, really. And so you have to think about your clients in that manner, or your prospects, okay? Everyone's got a question that they ask, they've opted in to you for a particular reason, right? They've opted in, and so what generally happens is that a lot of people want to make the sale on the first go. They're out there, they're running a business, they're in hunt mode, and that's fine. But if everybody's in hunt mode, how are you going to differentiate yourself from the marketplace? And so we delivered this value-based, results first model, which isn't particularly new. It's just new inside the fitness industry online. And so, it can be doing a challenge, it can be giving off a video series, it can be delivering a lead magnet. But here's the thing, one of the most really crazy things about delivering lead magnets is how many people open email rates nowadays. We're looking at a rate of less than 15%, 20% if you're an amazing email writer, right? And you have some really cool stories. But for the majority of us, we are looking at an open rate of about 15%. And so what happens is if you have 100 people actually download your lead magnet, only 15% of them are really going to read it or open it, okay? And open your email. From there, only about 2 to 3% will actually take a look at what you sent them, even though they downloaded it, even though they opted in for it, okay? And that's just taking a look. Now, if you're to deliver this value-based model, you need to get them a result. Just like that guy got me to the Eiffel Tower. He didn't actually just give me a map and say, here's your map, go get there yourself. He actually took me there. So for them, in order for them to get the result, they naturally have to implement, right? And if 2 out of 100 people that download your lead magnet are going to implement, really, how many people do you reckon will actually implement and get the result and then say, oh my God, you are amazing? Not a lot. And so that is my issue with the lead magnet. Not to say that it doesn't work. In some marketplaces, it works well. Unfortunately, the fitness industry and the money-making industry is one of the most lucrative, the most competitive industries on the market. And so it's amazing because it tests a lot of your marketing and innovation skills. But at the same time, it can be quite tough. So you need to be thinking at top of mind, okay? And so what this is all about, it's how can you, as the personal trainer who doesn't have an internet marketing degree, who doesn't have a sales NLP degree, who is minimally trained, go out there, get more leads who actually want to work with you. And that's the delivering value in advance, okay? So if lead magnets and emails aren't necessarily as effective as they once were, well, what's more effective? What I found, and this is purely just based on my judgment, and this will change, right? Remember, like whatever you're listening to now works for now and possibly 3, 6, 12 months, okay? But on top of that, the core concepts don't. So if you can show someone how to get from point A to point B, that concept has been around for millenniums, okay? What might work at the moment is if you deliver video as well, you get them to opt in, you send them a series, get them straight into a video series, and then from there, you try to get them engaged into a Facebook group. And then from there, you get in touch with them via their inbox. And then from there, you might set out an autoresponder when you can get their phone number, okay? But just not to call them straight away. You're really just trying to maximize the ways you can reach or maximize and leverage the ways your customer or your prospect can see you, okay? Because if the problem is they're not seeing you, and if they don't see you, they're not going to achieve the transformation. If they don't achieve the transformation, you haven't built any trust, you haven't built any goodwill, you haven't gotten them a result. So why would they want to work with you and let you take them from point B to point C when they haven't even gotten from point A to point B? Okay, so if you're really getting this is an absolute game changer because it absolutely reshaped my business. It changed a lot of the things that I did. And once again, it goes down to knowing your numbers as well, which I'm going to cover later on if you keep listening. But the biggest shift that you need to make is how do you transform your client from point A to point B and in such a way that you can get in front of them, and using Facebook groups, using video, using your live stream, using email marketing all together are just more opportunities for you to help your client get from point A to point B so that they ask you, hey, how do we get from point B to point C? And if you understand that, then all the strategies and tactics will come into play a little bit later. But I really wanted to do this episode, now that my voice cleared up a little bit, only to just shift your mindset, because it is a bit of a mindset shift. It's going out there, and if you go out there with the mindset that you actually want to show people how good you are first, get them the results, and your main focus is getting people results through every piece of content that you put out, okay? If you shift your focus on getting your prospects and clients results on every single piece of content you put out, you will win the game, okay? Most people focus on the outcome rather than the results. What I mean by that is they want the money, the monetary outcome. They want the, okay, I'm going to send out this lead magnet and then I'm going to get 5 people who buy from me. Okay, why don't you think of it as I'm going to send out this lead magnet and I'm going to transform 10 of these guys that downloaded the lead magnet, and I want to make sure, how can I do that? And if you reframe that question, the whole game changes. So that is my question for you today on this episode, on episode number 2, is what are you doing, or are you going to shift your mindset into a more value-based model where your number one focus, right, becomes transforming your client, getting them from point A to point B. And my second question is, what do you need to do in terms of your lead magnet now? What do you need to do in order to get them from point A to point B? Everything that you need to do, and answer that question. Alrighty, well, that is all for today. If you haven't joined Online Trainer Summit Group, feel free to do so. I believe if you just go in the search bar, Online Trainer Summit Group, I do tend to do a few live streams. We are going to add in some really cool videos and case studies in there. So please do that. And once again, if you want to subscribe for any more information, then please just head over to the Online Trainer Summit Group on Facebook, type that in, it's nice and easy, and then you can download all the free stuff we have in there. Now, Once again, if you're really enjoying these podcasts, please leave me a review, a nice 5-star review. That will tell iTunes to kind of bump me up and keep me in their good books for the time being. But, I really, really appreciate if you leave me a review. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them over in the Online Trainer Summit group. I'm in there. I make an effort to be in there about 2 hours a day so that I can answer any questions, queries, and obviously post transformational content. Okay, my main focus is how can I help you transform your business, not give you more information. That's not the main focus of this. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next episode.